The Saints Row Reboot was a massive failure straight from the start. It launched in a broken, unplayable mess that is still like that today, 6 months after it originally came out. This game, it was one of the reasons why, if not the main reason why, Deep Sea Volition, the developers behind this game, had to shut down and move over to Gearbox. But there's some new information that has come to light in the past week or so that shows us just how bad of a failure this game is. Now, the Saints Row Reboot apparently cost over $100 million to make. $100 million. What the hell did they spend that money on? Because it is clearly never spent it on the development of this game, because I don't even think they sunk $1 million in the development of this game, because it was absolutely horrible. Now, this $100 million figure, it does not come from Embracer themselves. We all know that when it comes to the Saints Row Reboot, Embracer Group, they have been very stingy with giving us information surrounding the sales of this game, and more than likely it is because the sales are not all that good. But instead, it comes from a fan account dedicated to covering Deep Sea Volition's parent company, Embracer Group, which has been going through the Streeters Entertainment conglomerate's latest financial report. The factoid around Saints Row was flagged by the user alongside what was officially presented, which is that the company's PC and console segment is still feeling the sting of underperforming releases from earlier in the financial year. Aside from saying the cost is a well-known fact behind the scenes, they also point to publicly available financial data that shows the value of completed games in the July-September quarter being roughly $160 million a year. Excuse me, guys, my watch just went off there. The Saints Row Reboot was one of the few notable releases for the period, so the user believes it's not that bold of a statement. And if you know anything about AAA games, it's really not that bold of a statement, and I think he is right. Most budgets for AAA games, they start at around the $80 million figure. And believe it or not, despite it being broken, despite it not feeling like it, despite it especially not looking like it, the Saints Row Reboot is definitely a AAA game. So to think that they spent over $1 million on development of this game, it is 100% plausible, even though it definitely doesn't feel like this. Now, did Embracer actually recoup this money? Did they actually make over $100 million in sales? I do not know. I do not think so. Maybe they made a profit. Maybe they made just a little tiny profit. But sales for this game was absolutely horrible, especially since this game, the sales for it, has caused Embracer Group to change one of their policies when it comes to new games. And this policy, it can be summed up right here. All this is perhaps best summed up with one particular sentence. Each project has to earn its right to exist. The report continues, we will increase our efforts to put quality first even farther and make sure we create unique, positive player experiences. Well, you know, the Saints Row Reboot, it is far from a unique, positive player experience. But that's not what I want to focus on. What I want to focus on is this line right here. Straight from the start, right from the get-go. You can go back, watch my older YouTube videos about Saints Row. I've been saying that this game, it does not look like a Saints Row game. It does not feel like a Saints Row game. It just doesn't. I thought that this game was meant to be something else, and they slapped the Saints Row name on it just because they knew that the old fans would buy this game, even if it was just for the first week. And this sentence here, each project has to earn its right to exist, makes me believe this even more, that they knew that this game had no right to exist, especially as a Saints Row game. They just slapped the name of this game onto this series to sell copies of it. But I find all this, I find it is just completely hilarious. I find it is funny, even though I'm not laughing right now. Because if you guys remember straight from the start, everybody that was saying that this game was not doing well, they were lying. Apparently the sales were good. A certain someone, not going to mention no name, someone over on Twitter, went ahead and said that they could see the YouTube numbers, that anybody that's saying that this game was doing bad was a bunch of liars. We had Lars Ringford, the Embracer CEO, come forward and say that he had high hopes for this game, that he could see this game turning a profit. And then we had a Streeters Investment Bank come forward, and they had an interest in Embracer that said that by March 31st of this year, of 2023, they expect the game to break even. Whether this game is breaking even, whether it has actually broke even, like I said before, I do not know. But the fact is, throughout the development of this game, throughout the, post-launch process, the post-launch promotion, I will say, fans have been lied to. They've been lied to about what this game was gonna be. They've been lied to by people like the community manager of the Saints Row page over on Twitter. And most of all, the most horrendous thing that could have happened of all of this is that they had attacked their fans, or their old fans. No company whatsoever should ever attack people they are trying to sell their product to. Now, Deep Silver Revolution, Embrace Group, whatever you want to say, had sold the heart, the very soul of the Saints Row reboot, and just blatantly flipped off all the old fans of the series for a new target audience over on Twitter. Everything that has happened to Deep Silver Revolution, they 100% deserve. With them shutting down, with them having to move over to Gearbox, with the way they handled this game, they deserve no less. And the thing is, this game could have been great. It could have been amazing if fans were actually listened to. Straight from the start, people were saying they did not like the way this game looked. That it looked more like Watch Dogs 2 than what we knew that was the Saints Row series. And that was the truth. This game, it was supposed to be Return to the Saints Row roots. That was a lie. Fan feedback was supposed to be taken into consideration. That was a lie. Everything about this game is a lie. It could have been one of the greatest games of this year. Instead, it is the worst game of 2022, and possibly the worst game of at least the first half of this decade. And the reason why is because Deep Silver Revolution, Embracer Group, they decided to give the middle finger to the old fans and go with this woke ideology. Their new target audience was the blue-haired freaks over on Twitter. But the biggest mistake about all this here is that the new target audience, the blue-haired woke freaks, they do not buy anything, but instead all they do is complain about it. In case you guys didn't know, I'm Gamer Geek, and if you stuck around this long, want to hit that like and subscribe button, let me know what you think about this entire situation down below in the comments. I hope all of you guys have an amazing and wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.